Hey everybody, this is Digital Asset Guy. So I just received my refund for XRP Las Vegas 2026 due to the Clarity Act markup discount. And it was the strangest feeling ever because paying to go to XRP Las Vegas 2025 was some of the best money I've ever spent. So it just seemed a little strange to get a discount. I just think it's so generous, $589 for such an experience. You know, I'm a small town guy. Crypto changed my life, largely XRP. And I was on the fence the first couple of years. I didn't go. I thought, is it really necessary? Should I go? Will it be weird? And then last year I just said, you know what? I'm just going. And I am so glad that I did. It was honestly priceless. Meeting my heroes, digital asset investor, the blockchain backer, Brad Kimes from Digital Perspectives, of course, the founder, Eleanor Tarrant, Bree Teresi, so many more. It was just priceless. It made it real, where they're not just behind my computer screen or my phone screen, and they're real people. It was just awesome to meet them. And then I met other people who, we're like lifelong friends now. We talk on the phone, we're planning ski trips, beach trips, who knows whatever else. And I just wanted to say what an impact it's had on my life. And I honestly think I didn't realize how much I needed to go to XRP Las Vegas until I went. Seriously. And I think it's a unique time where the XRP community is still small enough that we can have an event like this and be in the room with people like Brad Garlinghouse and David Schwartz. I think there will come a day where you can't get in a room with those guys and the heavy hitters. And so I just think that it's just such an incredible deal, $589 for a priceless, life-changing experience. $589, well, let's be honest, you can spend that at home in your hometown doing nothing, being bored, So I say that my 2 cents, the digital asset guy, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but trust me, bro. I don't think you'll regret it. And ladies too, you can trust me. I don't think you'll regret it. I hope to see everyone there. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Digital asset guy out.
All right, there you have it. That's exactly how I feel about XRP Las Vegas 2026. It's just awesome to see that Brad Kimes with Digital Perspectives shared that. I kind of was nervous about making that video. I just felt called to, really, because it's such a great event. And I've just thought maybe if somebody's on the fence about it, me sharing a little bit of my experience last year might help them decide. And it's just neat to have people sharing it. If I look at my notifications, I had a bunch of cool people follow me because of that. There's Mr. B XRP. Let's see, there is XRP Megalodon. A lot of cool people. Oh, 007 Rob liked it. Oscar Hernandez. John. Very, very wild guy right here, John. John, we're gonna, this year at Vegas, this time we're not going to, you know what, I'm not even gonna get into it. We're gonna have a great time. Claire, Oscar, there, Mrs. Backup is Brad Kimes' wife, just a sweetheart. She retweeted that video, and there's Ice, did the throw in the hearts thing. Ice has the funniest little emoji things. So anyway, yeah, really cool to be on Digital Perspectives Twitter posts like this. So here is the website, the page for XRP Las Vegas, the largest XRP conference in the world, April 30th through May 1st. It will be at the Paris Hotel and Casino. The Digital Asset Guy has stayed at the Paris before, and it's a really great hotel. The pool is really awesome. about as good as you can get. There's Martha Stewart. You know, am I the only one who feels bad for Martha Stewart that she went to jail over getting some stock tips? And then today, all the things that are going on, a lot of real crooks have not went to jail, like maybe people in Congress who have been trading stocks and becoming worth hundreds of millions when they make like $180,000 a year. Anyway, poor Martha Stewart. Okay, so anyway, the Paris. Wonderful hotel. Of course, not as wonderful as Caesar's Palace. Seriously, I was invited, the boys and I, to XRP Las Vegas. Of course, we cannot go for certain reasons, but I told Brad Kimes, seriously, next year we should have it at Caesar's Palace. Maybe we'll, I don't know. All right, so here's some of the drama that's going on right now. My girl Eleanor Terrett, she and Brian Armstrong were into it pretty seriously on X. So Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, he wrote this: in general, love your posts, but this is not accurate. The White House has been super constructive here. They did ask us to see if we can figure out a deal with the banks, which we're currently working on. The banks basically are very worried about stablecoin yield because the banks are paying next to nothing in the savings accounts and things, and so they're worried about stablecoin yield on platforms. And I talked about that a little bit in my last video. But anyway, apparently, so Eleanor put, the White House is considering pulling its support for the crypto market structure bill entirely if Coinbase does not come back to the table with a yield agreement that satisfies the banks and gets everyone to a deal. A source close to the Trump administration tells me. So I personally believe Eleanor was just doing her job, and I think Brian is in kind of a tough spot here, and he was taking his frustration out on Eleanor. I don't know all the ins and outs, but I don't know. I don't think that was right for him to kind of attack her and say, this is not accurate. All she's saying is what she, knows, and I think it is a tough spot for everyone right now because they're trying to make a deal, but then the banks, all of a sudden the banks, they were saying crypto's nothing, it's not real money, we're just going to ignore it. And then now all of a sudden they're worried, and they're that yield belongs to us and the banking system, we built this country and everything. And it's like, well, what are you worried about now? You guys are worried. Why are you so worried if crypto is not a real thing? It's because it is, and they know. So things are getting pretty interesting. And then here's some more drama about it. Charles Hoskinson, founder of Cardano, now he attacks Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple. What did Charles do when people like Ripple had to fight for their existence? He hid. Not important enough to sue. I don't really. But anyway, here's Charles talking about. So I think Brad was kind of willing to negotiate with this bill, and Charles thinks that that would be wrong because there's just too much. Too much of a gray area. I'll just let you listen to it, if it'll play. Why do I pay all this money for like the good internet package?
You still got people like Brad saying, well, it's not perfect, but we just got to get something, it's better than no clarity. Hand it to the same people who sued us. Hand it to the same people who put us out of business, who subpoenaed us, who put us in jail. That's better? That's what we fought for? That's what we voted for? And tell me, how do we change it? like we changed the Securities Exchange Act of 1933. 93 years later, have we been able to change it? No. You pass it, you own it forever. Sorry, Brad.
All right, you can watch the rest of that on your own. I agree. I see where Charles is coming from. He's saying, we can't back down. This bill's not anywhere close to where we need it to be for there to be, clarity in the space and give fair rules of the road. But then again, Brad Garlinghouse, he's a great CEO. I believe he knows better than anyone about, the space and what needs to happen. I mean, geez, the SEC Ripple lawsuit, but then again, you have to play politics. You have to negotiate. You can't just demand everything. It's kind of like in elections. I remember back when Donald Trump became the nominee, a ton of people on the right, people like Glenn Beck. I remember Glenn Beck saying, my friends, if the election comes down to Trump versus Clinton, I will be staying home on election day. I will not even vote. And I just remember being like, are you crazy? Like just because you can't have it your way, that Ted Cruz was in it. I knew Ted Cruz, he's a great guy and everything, but he was not going to win the nomination. He did not have the mudslinging capability. He wasn't enough of a fighter. He wasn't entertaining enough to be on it. But it's like when you don't vote, you're voting for the other side. So I'm not pretending to know what the answer is with this Clarity Act thing and all this drama. But this is what the big guys are saying. Brad Garlinghouse just got to Davos.
The theme of rebuilding trust is paramount, and I think that applies to crypto as well. Last year's a year with a lot of headwinds, some self-inflicted wounds, but I think as we rebuild trust with the ecosystem, with the major players, I think the future is extremely bright. 2024 is going to be marked with the reversion to kind of core first principles, recognizing that compliance in crypto and all financial services is very important. And I think to build that trust and to really scale into the opportunity that crypto represents, we have to have that compliance first mentality.
All right, so you can go ahead and watch the rest of that. Oh, just for fun, here on Brad's page, there's this guy who does these AI videos that are like funny. And this is just hilarious. It's X art here. This is just hilarious. It's an AI Brad Garlinghouse. Then there's some swearing in this that I always try to like to keep this family friendly in case children are watching, but this is really, really hilarious, but there is some cussing. But this XArt guy with these AI videos, they are really awesome. They're a lot of times they're funny, and just check out some of those. Some of them are interesting too. Like this one has Brad Garlinghouse and Christine Lagarde and Caroline Pham, and they're actually really cool how realistic they look. There's David Schwartz. Anyway, so let's take a look at the crypto market today. Remember last week, about 10 days ago, in my one video, I said that I expected there to be, the Clarity Act could be the perfect setup for our bear market narrative. Like it doesn't work out, or there's a huge problem, they don't reach an agreement, the Clarity Act doesn't happen. I think we're at the perfect point to fall off the cliff and go down into our bear market. Again, I know I keep showing this, but if we go back and look at 2021, here we were at the top. It's like we're right here where we retraced up a little bit, and then all of a sudden we stair step down. And then when we get further into the depths of it, that's where FTX happened. Who knows? Maybe the Clarity Act not working out might be similar to this. I'm just saying. Something to think about. iTrust Capital, I'm pretty sure they're going to be at XRP Las Vegas. So it's going to be really exciting. It'll be neat. I might be able to match some faces with names of people who I talked to over there, because you can talk to a real person. Their support team is just great. You can call them on the phone, talk to a real person. You can own crypto inside of an IRA or their new premium custody account, which is not an IRA. You can just hold crypto and you can hold it safely. Not financial or investment advice, just my personal opinion. I think it's crazy to not have crypto in an IRA, and you can also stake crypto in an IRA, and I believe in the premium custody account. I think Ethereum, don't quote me, but it's like around 4%, and then Solana, I think, is 2%. They do change, but inside that IRA, you get it tax-free because it's inside an IRA. I think having a Roth IRA that you're staking inside of, that's like the best of all worlds, because you've got the Roth IRA where it goes in pre-tax. You've already paid tax on it, and then you can stake inside of there tax-free. And so you're staking, you're earning more coins, and then the value of the coin goes up too. So it's like a double whammy, and you've already paid taxes. No brainer. So, all right. Well, if you are someone who's on the fence about XRP Las Vegas, you heard the beginning of this video, how I feel about it. It really is, when we think back to what we remember in life, I know I've had a real... the last couple of years, I've kind of really changed my tune on what's important in life, and now I tend to chase experiences rather than material things. I've gotten to be quite a minimalist in my day-to-day life, but really, I think when I look back in my life and I think about what's been most important, it's been the relationships, friendships. XRP Las Vegas, like I said in the video, it made it real, where my heroes, who are usually behind a computer screen, they're real people who I get to meet. I have made friends who I talk to almost weekly on the phone. We're talking about doing trips. I was invited on a ski trip. We're talking about beach trips, international trips, because let's just be honest, in crypto, especially if you are like a crypto enthusiast, kind of obsessed, you've had your life changed, or even if not, you're just getting into it, it can change things where it's just a little bit, a lot of people just don't get it yet. It's not totally mainstream, and day-to-day life can get a little weird. It can get a little lonely. All the time I complain, I don't have a lot of friends like I used to in college. When you're out of college, you're not like forced to be around people your age with the same interests. It gets a little weird in your 30s, especially if you're single. And it can be a real problem nowadays. So when you go to a convention like this and you're around a ton of people with the same interests, it can be a real great thing. So if you're on the fence, I would consider going. $589, small price to pay for what you get. And I think it's one of those things you look back on and it's something that's really valuable. All right. Thank you for being with me tonight. To all a good night. Digital Asset Guy. I hope to see you at XRP Las Vegas. Digital Asset Guy out.